Hello， 大家好，我是胡斌。今天我们和 Anya Hindmarch 的设计师来聊一聊他对时尚的看法。嗨，请你给我们介绍一下您和您的品牌，以及2020年秋冬系列的一些灵感。
Hello, I'm Anya Hindmarch and I'm here in London in my office. You can see the creativity will eat strategy for breakfast. It's behind me. I'm passionate about accessories and fashion and leather goods, beautifully made things. But the things I really care about are things that are beautifully made, yes, but also make you smile, because ultimately fashion is not saving lives. It's actually about putting a smile on your face and making yourself feel better. But I'm also passionate about sustainability and about behaving in a way that is sensible, that is full of common sense, actually. So you might see that our autumn-winter collection is very much based around the subject of waste and how we can build less waste into our supply chain. So we've actually been working on a patchwork collection, which is taking all the bits of leather that would have been discarded or thrown away into landfill, and how can we resurrect them and repurpose them and make them really, really beautiful and something that we all want to wear. So it's been a passion project for Autumn Winter 20, the patchwork collection. A labour of love, because it's very difficult to do, but it's really beautiful.
我们是从您我不是塑料袋这个系列认识到您的品牌的。最近你又推出了我是塑料袋，这个系列是如何演变过来的呢？
I'm Not a Plastic Bag was a project we did back in 2007, and I think every line on my face is probably to do with that project. But it was an important project, actually. I mean, the aim was very simply to create awareness, which was to make people aware of the madness of all this single-use plastic which was being used and then thrown into landfill. And certainly awareness we got. I mean, I think 80,000 people queued in the UK in one day for that bag, and went on and on around the world, in New York and Tokyo and Hong Kong. And the point is the project made a difference, and it massively reduced the consumption of plastic bags, and really was important. But interestingly, here we are in 2020, and frankly, the problem is far from gone away. And so we launched very recently a project called I Am a Plastic Bag, which is actually a bag that is made from 32 half-litre plastic bottles that would have been destined for landfill. And I think that the point is that actually it's no longer clearly about awareness. It's actually how can we keep the 8 billion tons of plastic that's on this planet? How can we keep that from landfill? How can we keep it in circulation? How can we keep fashion circular and keep it being used and not going into the landfill? So that's really been this project. And what's particularly interesting for me is it took us a long time to develop a fabric that was of a beautiful enough quality, so it felt like a beautiful cotton canvas drill. But what was interesting is that the fabric behaved so much like cotton that actually it got dirty. So we wanted to find a way to coat one side of it, but I wanted to find a recycled coating. And so we managed to extract PVB, which is the plastic that goes between the two bits of glass in a windscreen that stops it falling into the car when it shatters. And we managed to save that from landfill and to use that to coat the fabric that we made out of plastic bottles. So it's been a real labour of love. It's been hard work, 2 years of R&D, but it's an important project, and I think not only raises awareness but actually stops things going to landfill. So that's been a big project and one that we're very proud of.
关于旅行可持续发展的环保生活方式，你有什么样的好的建议跟我们中国的观众分享一下吧？
People always ask, and I always ask myself, how can we live a more sustainable life? What does that even mean? For me, I'm no expert. I'm just trying to apply common sense, frankly, to the problem, which is that, we know that we need to behave in a more manageable way. I mean, things that I'm scared of is, the word disposable. I think there's so much disposability, and, just how it's really interesting. In fact, if you go to a recycling centre or a landfill site, it would change your view forever. It would make you think very differently. And I really urge everyone to do that, because when you then see that, you apply common sense. How can I take less stuff? And how can I make sure we avoid stuff going to landfill? And that's important. And it's actually quite easy, frankly, with a bit of hindsight, a bit of thinking, and a bit of planning and behaving a bit differently, we can make a huge difference. So I'm kind of positive about the problem, but it needs an effort. And it's interesting, isn't it, how much effort and how we've really changed our behaviour because of COVID. And frankly, an overheated planet is so much more serious than COVID. So it's interesting what we can do if we want to. And I would urge anyone to read up as much as they can, see what they can do, and just start. It's just about starting. You don't have to be perfect, just kind of get going, and to really just try and behave in a sensible way. And I think for me, if we can just try and avoid the word disposable in our lives, and just it's common sense. Keep common sense front of mind.
可以帮我们推荐一下，在你心目当中，当代女性通勤的首选包是哪一款吗？
I think, yes, that I love to design things that can be really functional. I'm a great believer in making women's lives easier. So there's several threads actually in what we do. There's the really high fun stuff, the beautiful little evening bags, the almost pieces of art. So things that are actually normally foods, or things with eyes, or things that are actually what I call conversation pieces, and those are the little bits of art which I love, which I think make you smile, which are really beautiful. There's another side to what we do, which is really about organisation, because I think ultimately a handbag is about, you leave the house and you need to have what you need with you. So it's really about organisation ultimately. And so there's a sort of set of products that we call our labelled collection, which comes out of the fact that I like the prompt, if you like, of having sort of everything labelled. So this is your wash bag, this is your makeup bag, this is your cables and chargers bag, and that's really about making life easier. And so it's really a system, lots of little pieces that actually work to really kind of actually make life a bit simpler. And as a busy woman, I know I appreciate that. And then there's the pieces that are just really beautiful pieces. There's a bag called the Postbox bag, and there's a new version, a tiny small size, which is very versatile. It can be a clutch, it can be a crossbody, it can be lots of different things, but it's just really a work of art in terms of the craftsmanship. And it's interesting when you're making things, sometimes trying to make something just, for example, lightweight is incredibly complicated. You need to really think about how it's made and how it's structured and how it works. And so, for example, the Postbox is just the most beautiful piece actually, but is incredibly it's so simple, it's actually an incredibly complex piece of construction. So that type of engineering almost is really appealing to me. So it's sort of a combination between the things that are fun and beautiful, and almost combining those things. So everything is lovely, but brings a smile to your face, but is beautifully made.
可以跟我们大家聊一下，在隔离期间你是如何获取灵感、保持创作的？
Lockdown was a really strange time, and who knows, we're about to go into another lockdown, but I mean, there's nothing good that comes out of COVID, surely, but it actually was strangely a very productive time for me creatively. I think perhaps because all the noise of normal life and the busyness and the normal travel that I would do was removed, it actually gave me a chance to really hone in on what I care about and what matters. It was actually a very happy time for me to sort of make a very simple life and be with my kids, and creatively was exciting. We actually got involved in quite a few projects. We made a lot of hospital gowns for hospitals here in London, which we did with the help of a number of donors. And we did make hospital gowns that you can wash, so it was no longer, again, disposable PPE. It was actually PPE that will last forever and be washed and worn again the next day, so that was important to do. So we did several projects that were helping the care workers and hospital workers, and actually just spent some time being creative. So lots happened, and a strange time, but a very productive time for me.
我们很想知道你以前来过中国吗？可以跟我们分享一下你在中国的经历和看法吗？
I've been to China many times, many times, and I love it. I find it completely fascinating and interesting, and an amazing combination of the history and the culture with the modern madness that is China. I find it really super inspiring. But my husband's grandfather he lived in China in 1930. He was an ambassador there, so I sort of feel we have sort of quite deep family connections with China. My son actually studied in Tsinghua in Beijing. So we went out several times to visit him. So he actually speaks quite good Mandarin. So no, it's in my heart, China, and I find it very exciting. I can't wait to go again. I miss it.
关于您和京东的合作，能告诉我们更多你对你的未来的计划和期许吗？
It's super exciting to be working with JD.com. I mean, it is absolutely the most enormous powerhouse that has this incredible distribution. I find it logistically utterly fascinating and awe-inspiring, honestly. So it's a real pleasure to work with JD.com, and we're excited to launch our new collection and looking forward to many fun projects ahead.